we have the Mod 3.5, which used to be called the Mod 5.3. We're going over some pretty cool stuff about how it's expanded to make it Airsoft exclusive, which is really cool. All right. Let's not do that. Wrong screen. Hey, everybody. Tonight we're doing it from the back porch instead of inside where my computer dual screen and all that stuff is, because this is a relatively simple one. Excuse me. So anyway, sorry about that interruption. I forgot to close the door so I don't disturb everybody else. Tonight we are going live because I just want to show everybody what was the Mod 5.3. Now it's the Mod 3.5. I know it's just a little flip. I guess it sounded a little bit better, the 3.5 kind of thing. To link to, it was about 6 months ago, we threw out a live cast of the previous version, the 5.3 version, which is, you're going to see a lot of similarities tonight. The link to get to that to that video is in the comments. I put it in there before I jumped on to make sure people had access to it. Excuse me. And tonight, the reason why it's important to bring this to light, what the changes are, just to show everybody, we basically turned it from a mock suppressor that's suppressed, that you might think that, okay, in some countries around the world, you can introduce something like this and there's no problems. Nobody cares. But over in many countries, including the U.S., if you introduce something that could actually be just slapped onto a real steel gun and used and actually suppresses real steel, the explosive action of the gases after the bullet comes out of the end of the barrel, that noise is what we don't want to suppress for real steel, because that would be illegal. Well, I grabbed onto this concept after doing some more digging, and I said, let's just make this a true Airsoft suppressor and make it modular as it was before. The modular parts of it are, excuse me, the modular parts of it that you saw in the previous video from 6 months ago are still active. It's still everything. This thing, it adapts to 13 different tracer units. It can be fully suppressed, or you can use, it'll be partially suppressed while using a tracer unit, and you can make it 3 different sizes to do whatever you want with it, basically, which is the whole goal of the modular part. I've seen some other items in the world market view, if you might want to call it, in the Airsoft world market, where they call it modular. And I think, yes, they are modular to a point. We wanted to go fully modular to the point where it was used for pretty much any aspect of Airsoft. If you're going indoors, CQB kind of stuff. If you're doing the regular standard suppression, regular rifle, carbine, whatever, regular, the normal size, 4 to 6 inches, that kind of thing. And also for the snipers that really want to quiet down their shots to nothing, like, you don't even know the guy's shot and you're standing right next to him. That's included in this too. It's all in one 7-part kit. It's when you receive it, it's all just 7 parts, which is pretty cool. And so the attributes that we've added on tonight, or over the last couple of months, have been, so if this were to be used on a firearm, then the suppressor itself, the structure, the body of it would actually fail. And I'm going to get to that here in just a second. Just wanted to clarify that this design has not been put on a shelf yet. Not put on retail shelves yet. And we are working on it, but before we could actually go into production of an actual suppressed Airsoft suppressor, I had to make it so it wasn't used for firearms. And let's go over those details now. Let me go ahead and bring that up for you guys. Let's see here. Let's bring that up. I gotta bring up this and make sure my audio is on. And let's bring up this screen. Okay. Now, just to make sure you guys are seeing it. Yes, you guys are seeing it, and you're seeing my ugly mug at the same time. So we'll just go full screen. Hopefully you guys can see it pretty well. I'm going to double check on my phone real quick. So the concept you're seeing in front of you is it looks just like the one from the mod 5.3. I changed the name, as I mentioned, to make it 3.5, which is a little bit more catchy. It makes a little bit more sense, especially after you take a look at this design. And we the characteristics that you're going to see tonight to make it kind of anti-firearm, if you want to call it that, are it's basically it's destruction of the design. If you're using a firearm without modifying this design, if you left it the way it was, the way it's designed, if you're using a firearm, there's several fail points to make it so actually the insides would just destroy themselves and the suppressor body itself would lose structure. It might even make it go bang, like louder than a normal firearm sound. And let's see here, double checking this. And yes, we are good and live. Sorry about that. I had to double check because I'm going full screen on this. So get to it. A couple minor changes. In the previous video, there were two. These red things you see here are the inserts. These are the suppression inserts. And the gray things that I'm highlighting right now are the cages that hold them. They will be solid cages. They have holes in them so you can see the suppressor inserts inside. Previously, there's two suppressor inserts in here. 1 and 2 inside this cage. Well, this cage didn't exist before, and the two suppressor inserts did. And you were having to manually put them in, take them out whenever you're making changes. As a note, this design is made so there's no tools required. No tools required, just, well, if you want to call your hands tools, that's what it would be. Your two hands is all you really need. Oh, and your brain. Of course, your brain. So we included the cage and put those two inserts in because every time you were going to install them in the previous version, there would be two of them right next to each other. You just stack them on top of each other. And hell, I said, why don't we make a cage? So all you have to do is put that in instead of having to worry about two extra pieces. You just got one modular piece that takes care of that whole thing. Now, the way everything goes together is these pieces. Let me get rid of those halvesies here. I'm taking off these halves here for you so you can see inside. These all of these pieces at any time, any one given time, go inside to fit whatever task you're doing, whether you want to go fully suppressed, and this is the long version. This is the full sniper version. As you can see, this is its entire body. If you were a sniper and you want to go fully suppressed, you would basically take this 3-inch one. It's actually not 3 inches. It's just what we call the 3-inch one. Take the 3-inch, see if I can put that in there correctly, something like that, and the 5-inch, and put the 5-inch in there. Where'd it go? Oops, sorry, there we go. Take the 5-inch, and you put it in the base one. Now, I know I'm not putting them in there perfectly, but what you're seeing here now is you would have full suppression from the back all the way to the front. All the way to the front, you had a full suppression, super quiet, and that's for the sniper version. Now, if you weren't doing the sniper version and you were just wanting to do the standard version, you would then, let's back those up, get those empty. This would go away. This cap would move down to here and be on top of this. Let's get rid of that so it's not confusing. That's the O-ring, which you don't really need to know about. It's just there, and let's get that moved on there correctly. A little bit better there. Something like that. These are just freehand movements. They screw on, of course. So anyway, then this will be your standard size. And obviously, as shown before, you could take this piece, the 5-inch, and you could put that in if you just want a suppression. Boom. Then you have your suppression. Boom. It's suppressed. But if you wanted suppression and tracer usage for this medium-sized tube here, you would take... if you want a suppression and to use a tracer unit, you would use these couplers, adapters for certain tracer units, and 2 of the 13 tracer units actually fit in here without you needing the adapters. I'll just have one here. Move that over. You would put that in here with the tracer unit inside of it. Get that, try to place that as best I can. The tracer unit would be in there, and then you take the 2-inch guy, the newest development of when it comes to the cages, and you would just put it right in there in front of it. Try to get that just right. So then, actually, I moved it to, this is actually too far back. Let's just change that back a little bit. It's too far back. Oh, well, I'm doing the best I can here. It's freehand movement. So now you have some suppression and you have tracer unit usage. And yes, before when I had the full sniper, you could include the tracer unit back here, put in the 2-inch, and then of course, as shown before, this would go up front. Burn that up. Sorry, 1 second. Let's click the right buttons here. And then you'd have suppression up front, you'd have the tracer unit in the back, and you'd have suppression in front of the tracer unit. So half, 3/4 of that would be, sorry about that, would be suppressed, plus you'd be using a tracer unit. And that's cool. So let's back that out so we can go back to what we were talking about. So we had the standard size suppressor. We'd have a tracer unit with the adapter collar in there and some suppression in there. Very cool. Now, if you were to take the previously hidden 3-inch Mod 3 tube and get rid of the 5, boink. Let's just move this puppy back here. This would be the CQB version. It would go all the way back here. Once again, this is freehand. Sorry if it's not lined up perfectly. And boom, this cap section here, this guy's right here would, let's see if I can get those both highlighted for you real quick. Get that straight, something like that. Boom. Let's move those back. Then you'd have your CQB version, something like that. And in CQB, that's the only, because it's so short, it's the only one that you can't use suppression and a tracer unit at the same time. You can use either or. You can take the 3-inch. I'm sure some of you are like, okay, yeah, I get it. All this stuff moves around and you can use it how you want. You can put the suppressor insert in there, make it suppressed, or you can take one of these, the collars with the tracer unit in it, and also go tracer. Boom, just like that. Cool. That's the basics, but I mean, I could have talked about it for a while and actually shown every specific little thing. But as you can tell from this description, what we have here is a system that allows you to go long, medium, or short with your suppressor, be able to be suppressed and tracer unit in 2 of the modes, and 1 mode you can use either or. Let's get to the to what we call the fail points. The fail points here are, let's get these lit back up. All right. One of the major fail points of anything of this whole design is these components right here. Oops, let's get them all lit up. All these components are either foam or plastic, including this cap piece right here. This one right here. See if I can get it lit up. And that, where is it? It's in the front. I gotta find it. Oh no, don't freeze up on my computer. There we go. Blowout cover, this guy right here. That one right there. And all these pieces here that I'd already showed you. These guys right here, all these guys right here. So those are all foam or plastic. And if they're inside and anything over 400 degrees, it was like 384 or 434 degrees, all this stuff melts. It just disintegrates. It just turns to goo. It basically just melts away because they're plastic and foam. That's a major component of how they fail. But to mention this cap again, this cap right here you see in black. This is a polymer, and the front cap that it's mounted on, this guy right here, is aluminum. But the front cap is, let's get rid of it so you can see, is actually mounted with the aluminum piece. It looks split because of the split design. Hold on. Let's go ahead and find these two so it doesn't look funky. There we go. This spins onto the suppressor. That cap that we were showing before glues into place, and we're looking at 4 different points, but we have to do pressure testing to make sure that the glue is not so strong that this won't blow off. The cap will blow off after approximately 300 psi, which is way below what firearms put out and way above what Airsoft puts out. So firearm on this is the fail points, is that blowout cap will just pop off. It'll just blow out. Other fail points if you noticed here, these slits right here. Yeah, see, that slit right there in that construction. That right there, there's 4 of them on each tube. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's 4 of them all the way around in each tube. These are around the threading areas. This does not sacrifice durability when using 6061 aluminum with all the threading that we're using. But if there's pressure that builds up inside the tube, these will expand. They actually will fold out and cause the structure to fail. They might pop off or they might distort. Either way, that's a weak point, fail point. And then back here, the rear cap, which is attached to the outer barrel. This thing right here is the outer barrel. That's the inner barrel. These are blowout ports, not blowout ports, but these are exhaust ports. So if you use a real steel firearm on this, these ports, all that flash, as they call it, from the explosive gases of a firearm, would just find an easy way out because of all the clogging here from all of the stuff melting or all the foam in the way. It would shoot out this way. So the firearm user would get sprayed with hot gases and possibly cause damage to not only themselves, but also to their equipment. So these fail points cause us to say, hey, I use this on a firearm, shit, bad stuff's going to happen. If anything, it might act like an explosion because all this stuff just fails all at one time. And if anything, the internal components, the plastic and foam, would just melt to nothing and basically self-destruct from the inside out. So that's the newest stuff, the newest design stuff for the mod. Now it's called the mod 3.5. And that's what we've been working on for quite a while here. It's still going to be just as durable as any airsoft mock suppressor. And it still maintains all of those modular components that we talked about previously. 13 different tracer units, can be suppressed and used tracer unit in 2 of its 3 modes, has 3 different lengths. It's still going to be durable, tough. By the way, I did forget to mention that these ports back here do not negatively affect airsoft suppression. If anything, they might actually help it. So let's see. Let's stop sharing, get that off my screen so I can, there we go. So that's it. For whoever's watching, thank you, man. Looking, Chris. Thanks a lot, Chris. I appreciate it, man. So that's really it. I mean, we took a fully modular suppressor, which could have been considered something that might be able to be used on real steel firearms. That's the reason why you don't see suppressed airsoft suppressors manufactured in the United States, because they might even be able to be used on firearms. And that that reminds me, let's bring that back up. I'm sorry, I'll put the white screen back up. I forgot to mention something kind of important. Shame on me. Let's get it back up here. And that one right there, share. Let's bring this back up. This guy right here, let's get rid of that. I want to show you something else we did. Look at this is the barrel cap that connects to the outer barrel. This port here is only 6.5 millimeters. This port is only, gotta click at the right spot. Get to measure it. There it is right there. 6.5 millimeters. That by itself takes away most of your calibers. That port right there. If they try to shoot through that port right there, the bullet will get shredded. It's only 6.5 millimeters. That's pretty darn small. I'm not saying that eliminates all the calibers, but we are trying to make it so you negate most uses of any firearm. Okay, we all know that people can create suppressors on their own for real steel firearms, but we didn't want to make something that was already ready to just be slapped on and, okay, it can suppress for like 1 or 2 shots. It can suppress the firearm. No, you use this one time and bad things are going to happen for a real steel. But for airsoft, it's beautiful. The plastic cap on the front, I forgot to mention too, the plastic cap on the front is made of an ASA material, which is, it's got high UV resistance, plus it's tough as nails. So you don't have to worry about that. Like it'll fracture, it's just going to come apart later on because it's a polymer. No, it's a high density polymer that is very It's a little harder to make, but it has high resistance to UV, which of course we did that because that's going to be the only plastic part or foam part that's exposed to sunlight on a constant basis. So we made sure that polymer was the right polymer for the job. The internal components are polymer and foam. And as you've seen in previous video, those foam inserts they're the same foam inserts that we've used for the RC Airsoft Cloak and Ghost series, same type of foam, for all these years that we've been selling them. So we're using those attributes and bring it into this modular suppressor. Sorry, I just got in from work, man. Still coughing up the day's congestion from traffic. But anyway, that's it. I actually wanted this to be a little bit shorter, but I wanted to really point out to people that all the modular parts of this system work. They're still there. I mean, the tracer units, the suppression, the ease of use, no tools for this. Just got to, know what goes where and when, putting puzzle pieces together, which is only 7 of them, so it's not a big deal. And it's still tough. It's still ready. It's designed specifically that it still maximizes suppression for airsoft, but use it on firearms and bad things are going to happen. And that's what I'm most proud about, is that this sucker, something bad's going to happen. The user's going to get hurt, and he might get hurt, but no matter if he gets hurt or not, the interior design will just melt away. It'll actually, at those temperatures that firearms produce, it can actually catch fire. Because these plastics and the foam all have flash points where they can actually burn, and firearms can get that way real fast. And the front blowout cap, plus the splices and the threading where it can actually expand and fall out, or it can actually distort. So that's it. I'm really hoping that this becomes the first true airsoft suppressor that is fully modular, maybe even just the first true airsoft suppressor. Especially with the quality of the Cloak and the Ghost series. So, anybody's watching, hey, I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate if you contact me with any questions. I don't see any questions up here, but hey, message us through the Facebook page. We'll answer any questions that we have about it, but I threw a lot out there. It's not all of the specifics. There's an 18-page document that describes this sucker, but those are the major incidents that hopefully we'll make it the first true airsoft suppressor, and everybody can have a chance to grab one and use it. Because the idea is that once you buy this one, you're pretty much done, because you can use it in all genre of play. You can tracer unit, you can suppress, you can, the only thing that's not on there is an amplifier. And well, that totally negates the use of having a suppressor in the first place. So, all right, that's it, everybody. Like I said, need to contact me later on, just message us through the message book for the Facebook. I really appreciate y'all watching this. And it's just a few days after Christmas. So to everybody, Happy New Year. And be safe this holiday, and especially New Year's Eve. And looking forward to a great 2024.